not at all.
Okay, so I'm here with Anna Marie.
Anna Maria.
And we're talking about one thing that Zappos does. I'm really impressed with it. I want to emulate is a personal emotional connection. And literally in her schedule every day, you know, for 15 minutes, you know, she is scheduled to create. And I'll let you take it from here.
I am scheduled 15 minutes before my lunch to create a personal emotional connection. And what we do here is we make a card that we have. They're called PEC cards. So for instance, if a customer calls and buys a pair of shoes, she's like, oh yeah, these are going to be great. We're going to Disneyland and these are for my kids. And in my head, I'm going, aha, they're going to Disneyland. So what I do during my PEC time is I then go pick out a card, one of our PEC cards, and maybe I'll cut out some pictures of Mickey Mouse or something and say, have a great trip. It was wonderful talking to you. You know, you and your family have a wonderful time. And it means a lot. It means a lot to get that personal note.
Connection,
yeah, from a customer service rep who you were just ordering shoes with. People are just blown away by it.
Now, it's always a card, or I mean, do you ever just send them an email? Just, you know,
we don't send emails only because our emails here, my email. My Zappos email is private email, so we try not to send those out to customers. That's why we have the bourbon. The bourbon one would strictly say cs@zappos.com.
Right.
So we don't send out any emails, but what we do, which is really special, so if someone's calling, let's say they're getting married, or a family member has just passed away, or they just had a baby, we can send out cookies and flowers. So if someone just told me, you know, I just had surgery and I'm just sitting here and, you know, my leg is up, and I go, oh my gosh, this is a perfect opportunity to send them either cookies or flowers. So I email it's called CLT Supplies, and I'm like, can you please send this person out some cookies because they just had surgery?
And they'll do a personal card and everything else.
Personal card, absolutely.
Now, how do you track that? I mean, because we want to do the same thing. We call it the FUP program, follow-up program.
Sure.
And I love the way you do it. And one of the things we're struggling with is how do you, you know, every single interaction that we have with a customer, especially on the phone, I want a follow-up, you know, and yours is a little more loosey-goosey. You just, every day, you know, you're given 15 minutes. Do you do it every day, and do you do just one? Do you do one, or do you do more than one? And
I try to get two in.
Okay,
I try to get two
every
in.
single day.
Every single day I try to get two in. But also I put PEC in, let's say a customer calls and they're like, hey, can you mail me a label instead of faxing or emailing it to me? Perfect opportunity to put some PEC in there, so they don't just get an email or a letter in the mail, or excuse me, a label in the mail from Zappos. With me, I'm going to put stars and say, hey, my gosh, it was, you know, really great helping you. So I'm going to make it a little bit
Is it
more
really
Zappos.
informal, though? I mean, it seems to me that the way you're describing it, that if you left today, you know, God forbid, unless I try to hire you, which I would, if you've lived in Sun Valley, but if you left today, all those personal relationships that you created and all those things that you were going to follow up with, would they get done, or it's just, I mean, there's no computer record of how that's going to get done next, is there?
No, I mean, because it's really rare that I get the same customer over again. There has been so
do they
like
call for you? Do you establish that personal
I have
connection?
had people call I've had people call before. So what happens, in a sense, like, I talked to Margaret from Ohio. Margaret, Ohio had an amazing connection. Maybe we talked for an hour on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, I want to make sure I get you always." Unfortunately, we don't have an extension,
right?
So Margaret is not going to get me. But what people have done before, who gets them? So maybe Berta got Margaret. Berta will send me an email saying, "Hey, Margaret from so and so called
and
to
you'll
say
do a
hello."
transfer, or just
yeah, and you know, with that instance, if she sent me an email saying Margaret said hello, I could still send Margaret another PEC card or something else. I can even cut out some construction paper and make a flower and say, it was great hearing from you.
Could you name like one customer that you spoke to yesterday that you really enjoyed talking with? Do you have that level of personal connection?
I do, absolutely. So I spoke with it was a lady from, oh gosh, where was she calling from? From New York. And she called about some shoes that were defective. on for that she got from her little boy. Well, I have a little boy as well. They're both 4. So we started talking, and we just thought, and then I heard a baby in the background, and I'm like, oh wow. And then she told me how old her kids are, and yeah, we start talking about mommy stuff. I mean, it's so easy.
And you know, how do you get her off the phone ultimately when you're busy?
Well, you know, I get off the phone when she wants to get off the phone.
Period. She wants to talk, wants a friend for an hour and a half to talk about baby stuff.
I'll talk to her about baby stuff. Absolutely, absolutely.
And you won't get reprimanded, or no one's monitoring that. And
no.
What if you're just swamped? What if you know, like it's the holidays and you guys just are, you know? Do you ever say, you know, I gotta go? Have we done? I mean, because there's some lonely people out there.
You are exactly right, and that's happened. And actually, we just currently had something given to us about that. Now, we've had, I think our longest phone call here was like 9 hours.
Are you serious?
And so many minutes. And that, to me, I don't know how anybody can speak that long, to be honest. But, you know, good for them. It was probably someone who was lonely, who just needed to talk to somebody. So we have, now that it is getting busier, if you're on the phone, I would say probably 2 hours, you kind of just say, hey, you just always want to bring it back to Zappos. Is there anything else Zappos related I can help you out with?
Right.
Because we've had a queue before, and I've had people who are talking, and it's wonderful talking, but I have to remember it's not, I need to help the other customers who are on hold, and so I just bring it back. Is there anything Zappos related I can help you with? And
you love people, don't you?
I do. That's why I do this job. That is exactly why I do this job. I've been in jobs before where I've been by myself, and it's not my nature.
Everyone here to succeed, you would say, has to really love at the core, you know, dealing with people, love the customer.
Yeah, I mean, because you want to give this customer an experience like they've never had before, and you want that wow factor. It's super important.
What if you have a customer that just wants to get through an order as quickly as possible?
It happens a lot. It happens.
Do you sense that? I mean,
oh yeah.
So how do you establish the personal connection?
Sometimes you do when they just don't want to talk, and you're just like, okay, you have to respect that.
Right.
I try at least 2 times, so if they're calling from Brooklyn, New York, hey, how's everything in Brooklyn? Fine. Okay, so
that's me,
my friend.
by the way. I'm like, I'm here to place an order. Let's get down to business. And you just know it.
And you just know. And then I'll try again. I'll like, oh gosh, you know, it's kind of cold here in Las Vegas. You know, you hear crickets, crickets in the background, and then you just go on. Or if they'll, you know, some people, and I'd rather have somebody say, you know, I'm in a bit of a hurry. I'm not offended by that.
How do you deal with a customer that you know is lying?
Oh.
We have an expression that the customer is always right.
Yes.
Except when they're wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, I just don't. You know, there's something about the way our business is found, and me personally, it's honesty, integrity, transparency. And if a customer is just flat out lying to you, I don't feel that our customer service people should tolerate that.
Sure. So. What we say, we're not the Zappos police. That is a saying around here. We're just not. We're not the Zappos police.
Okay.
So we always want to give our customers the benefit of a doubt. Now, if I see something that looks really fishy, so if I open up the account and they told me, oh, I didn't get this package. So what we call it a DMCR. But if I see that there were several DMCRs on that account, well, it's going to raise a red flag for me. So at that point, the specialty team I showed you, the R desk, we also have another one called our order verification department, who takes care of more of fraud and money type of things. But at that point, if I had seen something like that, I would just, you know, politely ask them if I could please place them on hold, and I would call the resource desk and let them kind of make the call on that, because I've had that happen before where somebody's had. It's
aggravating. They're stealing
2
from
DMCRs. Yeah, and it is, and they were all high dollar amounts. So that's when I was really, because when we do a DMCR, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you out a replacement, or I'm going to give you all your money back. So I don't know if you don't have it. I am going to start an investigation.
Do you have the ability to credit people's cards? You directly as?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And then I will then just start an investigation with UPS, but you know, How
would you improve your personal connection if you were Tony and and like in my position, you know, I think that's so valuable. 15 minutes is just randomly to say to every call center person. I hate that expression, call center, by the way. You know,
we're not a call center.
No, no, it's the meaning, I think, and you know, I've heard it referred to several times. I wish. So in any event, how would you change that? Is 15 minutes enough time to do that? Or would you create some automated, like I'm starting to say to everyone, I require that every time there's a personal connection on the phone especially, but otherwise, that there's a flag on that email so that within 2 weeks or 4 weeks, they follow up with that person. Every single one. And we will staff as many people as it takes to create that. Would you that's how I would improve upon it. How would you improve upon it?
It's how far the customer service rep takes it. I mean, I've had customers before. I don't do this very often. I think I've only done it to this one customer who we had such a great connection. She looked me up on Facebook as I was on the phone with her.
Interesting. All right.
And I didn't give her my last name. She just put Las Vegas Anna Maria.
Oh.
And it says I work at Zappos.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was me that she found. And so I was kind of like, hesitant at first, but we became Facebook friends. And no matter what I put on there, what picture I put on there, I don't put a whole lot, but she will comment on it every single time. She has said she hasn't been to Vegas yet, but she's always like, oh, and my husband and I and my daughter come to Las Vegas, we're going to get together, we're going to take you out to dinner, and you're going to take me out to dinner? I mean, you don't have to do that. And I have a passion for cooking, so does she. So we talk about cooking stuff, and so I've kept that connection with her through Facebook, through social media.
So how would you improve? Get back. You think my proposal is too stringent? Does it work here because it's kind of loose? The only stringent is that you've got 15 minutes. Do it or don't do it, or take a break. Just I mean, is that too loose for you?
No, because we have people who just go beyond, with that. So if they talk to Judy on a Monday, and then if they want to if they can continue to send things back or send things to Judy, whether whether it's another card or something, just to keep that communication. The other thing we do ask our customers, if they're like, oh, you were fabulous, who do I get to talk to? There's a thing called, we have them email cs@zappos.com if they want to talk to us. I don't know who does this at Zappos, but they also can send out surveys to them. It's kind of a random thing who it goes to. And I remember, they can either, a lot of people aren't specific about a person, but one person mentioned me, which was really nice. And you hear back from these people, they tell you about it. We have something called sharing great calls. If you had a great connection with somebody, you can email your lead and say, hey, here's so-and-so's email order number. I had a great call with them. And she will then email that person. That person will then email her back. And then you could always send a card too, so that way that connection still flows. Now, how far you want to take that connection, it's really up to the rep. We don't have anything here at Zappos that says you have to, follow up on that person.
And no reward for doing it or detriment for not doing it. I mean, it's just interesting because it just seems like that's the point. But you do it. You probably contact 70 people a day on the phone, or how many people do you know your stats?
Not really. I know it's going to be, the volume's going to get a lot higher here soon. But I'd say 70 sounds about average. That sounds about right.
And you only send 2 follow-ups a day at
however
most.
Many I can do. Yeah, and some people will do 1, and they'll do, these grand, like they're artists. And they spend maybe 3 days on this one card. So that PEC time is to use for use to that. I mean, I'm telling you, some people take that card and they just do artwork that's just unbelievable. And they actually it goes to, it's called Whiz Bang. And I'm not quite sure which department they send that to, and they get featured on an email saying, oh my gosh, look what so-and-so, it could be like the Wizard of Oz theme that someone drew out and glittered up. That's just, I don't do that.
So, what do you love most about your job?
Oh my gosh, what I love, I do love talking to people. I talk to people from all over the place, and I get to learn so much about, their states, and I just really like talking to people.
What do you hate about your job?
What do I
There's got to be something. I mean,
okay. So the one thing is, like I mentioned, I am a mother of 2 little kids. I would love it if Zappos offered part-time work.
Okay.
Yeah, with benefits.
And from home.
And from home, of course. No, I don't think think I could do. I have 2 little kids. They'd be on me.
Could you do this from home?
I personally, well,
we
unless
have one rep doing it from home.
we used to have live chat at home.
Yeah.
So
and why did they stop?
I think again because we're so big about our culture here.